question number 32. We're gonna take this in two parts because there's kind of a lot going here. So we'll take this in two different parts. But the question is, why are different details sometimes given about the same woman or the same story in the Gospels? For example, when Jesus was anointed by a woman and wiped his feet with her hair. So that's why I'm saying we're going to take this in two parts. First part that we're going to consider is this right here. Why are different details sometimes given in the Gospels about the same story? And there's a couple different reasons for this. Number one is that each gospel writer had their own perspective on Jesus. And then reason number two is that by giving these different perspectives on Jesus, you've got different dimensions about Jesus. Well, I guess there's three reasons. Third reason is that by having these different perspectives, then what you've got is witnesses about the truthfulness of the person about who Jesus is. And what I mean by this is just simply this. Let's say that we've got Jesus here, and let's say that we've got Matthew, Mark, and Luke, okay? So Matthew's going to be looking at a Jesus with one perspective, Mark, a slightly different perspective, Luke, a slightly different perspective. John, on the other hand, John is going to be looking at Jesus altogether differently, okay? So the reason why I say that is the majority of Mark you can find in Matthew, and the majority of Matthew you can find in Luke, and all of these Gospels are very similar to each other in their language and in their stories and everything like that. Some people want to hypothesize and say, oh, well, Matthew, what he did was that he drew from Mark. Luke, he drew from Mark. And so Mark is the source to both Matthew and Luke. Maybe Mark came first, and maybe, Matthew and Luke did read Mark's writings, but I believe that the Bible was written by inspiration, and so I believe that, God supplied Matthew and Mark and Luke with this information that they had. Now, I do believe in dual authorship, which means that, yes, God inspired them, but it's not like God was dictating words in their ear. It's that God allowed them to use their own experiences and language and personalities and everything like that, okay? But anyway, that's why we've got Matthew, Mark, and Luke that's very similar, and they're looking at it in different regards. John, on the other hand, there's stories in John that you won't find in either one. As a matter of fact, a lot of Jesus' ministry in Galilee are going to be found in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. A lot of Jesus' ministry that you find in Jerusalem and Judea is going to be found in John. And there's a reason for that. Matthew is going to portray Jesus as being the King of the Jews, because Matthew's Jew, he's writing to Jews. Mark, on the other hand, some people say that Mark is portraying Jesus as far as a servant goes. And when you look at Mark, you don't have any genealogies of Jesus. You don't have any birth of Jesus. It just launches right into it. And so, that's why some people say, well, Mark is being portraying Jesus as a servant, because the servant doesn't really have any genealogies or, anything like that. He's just right there. Luke is the only Gentile writer of the New Testament, at least maybe known Gentile writer of the New Testament. And so Luke is going to be portraying Jesus as far as the Savior of the earth, or Savior of the world, as far as the Son of Man goes. Jesus' genealogy in Luke goes all the way back to Adam, the Son of God, whereas Jesus' genealogy in Matthew goes back to David and goes back to Abraham. So, there's Jesus being the King of Jews, and then Luke as far as the Savior of the world goes. Now, John, the reason why John is so different is because John is portraying Jesus as the Son of God. And so the deity of Jesus Christ jumps out on the page when you read the Gospel of John. So when you think about this, when you're looking at a person and you're looking at them from the front, you're going to be seeing different details than if you're looking at them from the back. And if you're describing the front, you're going to have different details than if you're describing the back, right? And so when you look at it in that regard, then what you got is a reason of, oh, well, I see why Luke is having different details than Matthew and Mark, and John has got completely different details at all, okay? And again, one reason for it is perspective, because the way that our Western minds think is we want everything, in precision. We want things chronological order. We want all, everything laid out. But we've got to remember that these men thought differently than we did. They had different ways of viewing things. And one way that they view things differently than we did is they didn't have the same importance of time that we do. In regards, we want, this chronological detail, that chronological, we want all of these very precise because we live in a very precise society. Them, they're kind of more loosey-goosey with things. And what you're going to find is that, sometimes when you put stories together of, the Gospels, sometimes you'll find, hey, these Bible writers kind of flip-flop things, okay? But that's different than saying that these things are going to be contrary to one another. There is complementary differences and there is contrary differences. What you find in the Bible is you see complementary differences, but you don't find contrary differences. In other words, you don't see one gospel writer saying that Jesus was executed by beheading and another gospel writer saying Jesus was executed by crucifixion. You don't have one gospel writer saying that Jesus rose on the third day, and you have another gospel writer saying Jesus didn't rise at all. Okay? See, those are contrary things. But what you do see is things that are going to be complementary. And so one gospel writer may say that there were two people that Jesus healed, but another gospel writer may say that there was one person that Jesus healed. Now, are either of them wrong? No. Did Jesus heal one man? Yeah, he did. Did he heal two men? Yeah, he did. Again, these are complementary things. These are not contrary things, okay? And so that kind of gives you an understanding, hopefully, about why the Bible has 4 accounts of Jesus Christ and how they're coming at things in a different angle. And that, each book has a portrayal of Jesus, has its own context about Jesus, okay? Anybody have any comments about that? Yes, sir?
If you didn't have this, it would be like the 6 o'clock news.
Yep.
You change channels and everything is the thing.
Yep. It is.
It's orchestrated.
It is. And that's another thing. In the Old Testament law, you had to have the witness of 2 or 3 people in order for it to be valid. Okay, well, you've got 1, 2, 3. Very similar, right? You got a 4th out here. 4th is different. 4th is God's perspective. Of course, it's all God's perspective because it's inspired. But Jesus is being portrayed from God's perspective. Then, Matthew, Jews, Mark, Romans, Luke, Gentiles. Okay?